It's like I said, I think it's cool chatting because we've been there from the beginning, you know what I mean? And I think that's the thing that I wish somehow we could instill some of that experience and knowledge into the newer people, really, because I think they would appreciate how far the hobby has come. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, to them it's all just go to the store and walk out and you're a breeder.
Yeah.
Like you buy a rack system,
yeah,
a temperature controller,
and it's all right there.
A
just
book,
boom, boom,
a book.
boom,
If it's
boom.
leopard geckos, you buy Robbie Hamper's book by Eco, and the whole thing's right in there. I mean, temperatures, everything's in there.
Yeah.
You buy the hatch right off the shelf, so you don't have to go all the way to Home Depot and get perlite and
make your own
vermiculite
shit.
and
Put
try
too
to
much
figure it
water.
out.
Yeah, put too
And
much
fuck
water
it up
in there.
how many times before you
you just put the hatch right in there. It's done.
Yeah.
The fucking trays, you can buy the trays to put them in, so you don't have to go to Jewel and buy the thing. Yeah, it's just different now. I think people don't like, Philippe DeVoe. So when I worked at Reptile Haven, I was in the Marine Corps from 89 to 93, and I was in helicopters, and so I had a lot of time off. I didn't sleep in the field. I didn't do any of that dumb shit. I was smart, so I didn't have to sit in the field like that. Only the dumb guys sit in the field.
Bruce is over there giving him the finger.
And so all my free time, I found Reptile Haven, and I was just like blown away as a kid who grew up like, remember the movie Stand By Me? That was me and my buddies.
Oh, yeah.
In the creek and train tracks and, trying to pile shit on the train tracks to see how much shit the train could break, before it derailed. And catching turtles and all that stuff. So I find this Reptile Haven and I'm like, oh my God, this is 1990.
Wow.
So in a store, albino Burmese pythons.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah,
$5,000, I think they were 7,500, something like that. 6 foot iguanas, 4 foot fully grown water dragons, males, all just green basilisks, fully plumed out adults. Wow. Just like the most mind blowing thing for a kid. Like I was just like, this is like the greatest find in the history of the world. I mean, I'm freaking out. So I become friends with Chris. Well, his best friend at the time is Philippe DeVoe.
Oh my gosh, yeah, a legend.
In and out of the store on like a all the time basis is Bob Mayu.
Oh my gosh.
All the guys from San Diego Zoo bringing in whole clutches of green tree pythons, trading for like sandblasted grapevine for the zoo.
Yeah.
All these different things are going on. And I'm just like watching all this, I mean, it's just amazing. So we go out to dinner at night, me, Chris, Philippe DeVoe.
Oh my God.
And I'm just sitting there and like, every time Philippe puts a book out, I'm buying it at the store. Like in the first night I'm reading the whole thing,
Yeah.
And so the next day I'm like, to Chris, oh my God, did you see in the book? He's like, I don't read those. And I was like mortified that somebody wouldn't read those. So now I get books in, I just price them, I put them on the thing, and
now you don't read
looked inside of it. You know what I mean? Like, and I totally get it. You know what I mean? I'm so burnt on most of the stuff that like I don't do it either.
Right.
And it's just a change of when you start the hobby and the enthusiasm that you have and who's around you. But for me at the time, Gary Sipperly was in and out of there. I mean, man, like you talk about the who's. It was like that was when everybody, East Bay Vivarium was just up north there.
Wow,
Jay Brewer had his place, in Fountain Valley there.
Yeah,
and we would just jump in. I had a little Volkswagen Squareback, and me and my partner Jeff, who I have Chicago Reptiles with, we just jump in that thing, and every weekend we'd be buzzing up, hitting all these stores,
That's awesome,
just looking at stuff, so geeked. And now, like I see people, and I would at the time never in a million years have thought that I would go on. There was no online, but if there was, in no way would I ever have gone online and started typing about like being a professional and telling everybody like how to do everything.
Because it wasn't a thing.
And like being like I'm somebody. Like all I did is my mouth was closed and I listened.
Yeah.
That's all I did.
Yeah.
And all around us was these amazing people that birthed this whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, from literally making heat tape and bullshit stuff.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't
like pipe heat tape.
Yeah,
there was
pipe
no, this
tape.
shit didn't
Pipe
exist.
tape,
Like
where you hope to God
like-
you didn't burn your
like these guys don't realize like this shit didn't exist.
Yeah,
man.
we would literally like take pipe tape and cut the thermostat out so that you could hot wire it to a fucking, so it could get hot enough for your snakes, but yet not burn your place
Tom
down.
Crutchfield and guys like that were international travelers.
Traveling. They were travelers.
Who's our other guy? God, why can I? He works at Starbucks now, I think. What's his name? You know who I'm talking about.
What state? Give me a state.
Suitcases, lots of suitcases.
Hank Molt.
Hank Molt. Bingo.
Hank Molt.
Suitcases turns into Hank Molt. See that? Like, it's like reptile industry charades. 2 suitcases. Who am I? Hank Molt.
It's crazy.
That's when you know you're old school. When you know that's
But it is funny because like you said, you've got Gary Sipperly. You know, people don't realize Gary Sipperly made the first snake racks ever.
Yeah.
And then Mark Bell ended up like not stealing, but taking the idea and taking it to the modifying to the next level. Because prior to Gary Sipperly, we had those will hold boxes that were plastic with lids, and you would have a rack, but the lid would still be on it. And Gary Sipperly was the first one that made a rack without a lid, which was pretty awesome. What, your cousin still on there?
No. Sam Gamble. No, dude, it's super cool for you that you can walk into a store and buy that stuff like that and walk out. I love it. In fact, I hope I sold it to you. But what I'm saying is, like, back in the day, like, you couldn't do that. And so you had to respect these older guys and all this knowledge that they were passing on. And now you get a kid who walks into a store, doesn't know anything, and a week later he's on the internet and he's like, you can't do this, you must do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. This is the only way to do this. And it's like, shut up.
And I'm sorry, but I'm also going to put in there, starts talking shit about people who have been doing it forever.
Yeah.
When it's like, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, like I would read Philippe's books, man, and I was sucking up every little word of knowledge I could get. It was just amazing that this guy would, I wish everybody, it should be like a law that if you want to be in reptiles and you want to like have reptiles, you should have to know who Philippe de Vosgely is. Yeah. Like I love that guy. Like that guy is like,
well, he was
what he did and what he brought in the natural, you know, the Vivarium magazine. That was him.
That was him.
People don't even realize, you know.
Yeah, and that was amazing.
That was a magazine.
That was a magazine.
Oh, just amazing.
Yeah, that was because it wasn't made for the pet trade. It was made for hardcore people that wanted to learn.
Well, there was no pet trade.
No, there was no pet trade.
There was only hardcore guys. I mean, really, I mean, kinda.
No, I agree. Yeah, I mean, you did, like we talked about when we first went with, you know, Don Hamper's Millersport show. I mean, you weren't selling hardly anything. You were trading stuff, or if you bought something here, you'd, you know, sell $50 there and then spend the $50 over there. Never walked out without it.
Well, it's like, what's the rule of reptile show? $10,000 goes in and $6 million in purchases are made.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. We never went home with money.
It just circulates the room 500 times.
No, it really is true. I mean, I've always said that. You know, I always said that. And listen, I think that everything I have now I owe to reptile breeding. You know, as far as business-wise and stuff like that. I mean, it made us who we are today. But that being said, I always said I never started making money till I stopped breeding snakes for a living.
And I would watch you from afar, and like, you know, when you're watching a lot of the guys, the money guys, the Barczyk, the Bell, there's a list of guys. You can see what's happening is you're selling a project out, you get the money, but you have to go buy the next project if you want to remain
relevant. Yeah.
And if you don't buy the next project, well, then you're just the guy that had that one project 5 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
And who wants to be that guy? Everybody wants to keep going and doing more. It's your business.
I think what it is you have to. Number one, I mean, we still obviously breed reptiles, and we do it because we love it. And I always say it's almost like BHB is more of a hobby to us than it is. I mean, it's a business, and it does well, and it's whatever. But like, that's not our primary income.
You just learned what to do with your money,
right? Yeah, and that's the other thing I've said. You know, not to degrade anyone that breeds snakes by any stretch, but I've always said. There are very few people in the last 20 years that have bred snakes that have become very wealthy that didn't use their money in another area. You know what I mean? I mean, there are a few.
What I've done with my money that I've made through Reptile House and ABC, things like that, is I've put them into other areas. I try to get many baskets, because if you only go with one basket of eggs, eventually somebody crushes your basket, and then
that's what we talked about.
And I think that's smart, honestly, in any business.
In any business, exactly, any business.
And that's what we've done.
Mark Bell is, you know, reptiles has been great to him. I mean, there's no doubt. But real estate has been 65,000 times better for him.
Yeah. And that's what happened with us when we could, you know, have multiple revenue streams. All of a sudden, the reptiles didn't matter. And the thing that's nice about that for me, liberating for me, is that now we can make decisions about reptiles that don't have to do with finances. You know, I mean, we can buy projects, or let's say if we miss the odds on a clutch, before I might have like wanted to shoot myself. Now it's like, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Because no longer that income isn't like, you know, you've cut clutches of eggs by yourself where you're like, holy shit, this could be a $50,000 clutch, or it could be a $2,000 clutch.
No. There's been no $50,000 clutches at my place. Let's not bullshit around.
Oh my God.